Welcome to Tatting. In this video we're going to take a look at the materials and the tools that are used to make this beautiful lace. So when you're going to start working on a piece, you have to first decide what you want it to look like. And what it's going to look like is going to depend, of course, on the material that you're using. This is a number 3 crochet cotton. It's rather large. It's going to give a large piece, but when you're first beginning to tat, this is what you want to start with. It's easy to work with, and you can see what you're doing. This is a number 10 crochet cotton. This would also be an acceptable thing to start with. It's smaller, it's harder to work with. I know when I started, I was 8 years old, and my aunt taught me how to tat, and she had me start on a very large piece of yarn. And that's what I learned on. And that's not a bad way to go. You're going to need a large needle if you're going to use yarn, but your shuttle will accommodate any size fiber. I'm going to do videos on both needle tatting and shuttle tatting, and you can try both and see what you like better. I didn't learn the needle tatting until probably 6 years ago, and I had always done shuttle tatting prior to that. But I found that the needle tatting, for me, is very, very calming. And me being the type A personality and always busy, 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 and I needed something that was calming. So the needle tatting for me was just beautiful. You may enjoy the shuttle tatting. You may enjoy both. Give them a try and see what you think. Finally, this cotton is a number 20. It's very fine, and it goes even finer than this. I've never worked finer than the 20. I never had the patience until just recently, so we will see where I go with this in the future. So once you have your fiber chosen, you have to decide whether you're going to go with the shuttle or with the needle. And I'll tell you right off the bat, the needle is a lot easier than the shuttle. A lot easier. It's easier to manipulate your stitches. It's easier to fix mistakes. Much, much easier. It's just much easier to work with. So I'm going to start by doing the videos with the needles, and then I'll come back and do videos with the shuttle. So what size needle do you use? You choose your needle dependent on the size of the fiber that you're using. So I wouldn't use this number 30 large needle with this very, very fine fiber. My work would be very, very messy. And I couldn't use the fine needle with the number 3 cotton because there's absolutely no way that the cotton will go through the hole. So you have to take into consideration which one's going to go through the hole. So you line up your needle with the material you're using, and the needle's just a little bit bigger usually than your material. Again, it's going to depend on what you can get through the hole. So some of your shuttles will have a point. If they do, that's great. If your shuttle does not have a point, you will definitely need a crochet hook to do your connecting. And the question that I always get from newbies, from beginners, just like you, is, can I use a regular needle? And the answer is, not really. And the reasons are, your tatting needles, you need the length in order to get the number of stitches to make your rings and your chains. You also want a needle that if you slip and you poke yourself, you're not going to draw blood. Tatting needles have a blunt point on them. They're also all the same width, all the way along. And the eye is not any larger than the needle itself, so your stitches will slip right off of the needle without any problem. All 3 of these needles, this is a large tapestry needle, it has a point. You will draw blood. And if you look, the head, I'm going to move things out of the way here so this will show. the head is larger than the rest of the needle. Let's see if I can show that. This is an embroidery needle. It has a blunt point. Again, though, the head is much larger than the needle itself. Easy to thread, but really hard to get your stitches off of. At least you won't draw blood with this one, but there's not much room here to hold on to it and get your stitches on. And lastly, a regular sewing needle. This is a long one. Again, the head is larger than the needle, and it's pointed, so you will draw blood. Not fun. Lace making should not be painful, and you don't want to get blood on your work. And a needle threader is a handy thing. It's not absolutely necessary, but if you have problems threading your needle, needle threader is a great way to go. So in the next video, we'll go through threading your needle, and it will be on needle tatting, and learning how to make the double stitch, which is the stitch that you will use in all of your tatting. See you in a minute.